Uh, right, no prizes for predicting what's going to happen now. Beastman! Beastman, come here immediately!
Yes, Skeletor.
Right, I have some instructions for you.
Okay. Why are you upside down?
Shut up! This week, I have been unable to think of a funny scenario with which to start the show. And as a result, I have decided to go for the low-hanging fruit.
I can see your low-hanging fruit, Skeletor.
Shut up again! Now, in a moment, I am going to turn around. When I have done this, I will issue my instructions and you will follow them to the letter. Is that understood?
Yes, Skeletor.
Okay, let's begin. Right. Do you see my backside?
I do, Skeletor.
Excellent. I want you to approach it closely, as if you were about to smell my farts.
Okay.
Right. I want you to lower your face so that you are looking directly at my gooch, and position your nose in front of where you determine my anus to be.
Okay, I've done that, Skeletor.
Right. You will hold this position no matter what happens, even if you experience a strong instinct to recoil. Now we clear? And are you ready?
Yes, Skeletor. Ready for what?
Hold it! Hold it! Okay, at ease. Give me a moment. Right. Okay, I have some questions. How do you feel right now?
Well, my eyes are stinging, and I feel a bit drunk.
Interesting. Anything else?
My breath has gone all shitty.
Okay. Anything else?
My brain feels dirty.
Are you hungry?
No, Skeletor. Actually, I feel a bit sick and dizzy.
Yes, you do look a bit woozy. Are you going to pass out?
I would like to, if that's okay.
Certainly. Be my guest. Well, that was time well spent. Whiplash, drag Beastman into the garden and hurry back so we can start the show.
Yes, Skeletor.
Greetings! I am Skeletor, and welcome to SkeleTalk, the series where I answer your questions. Shh, it's the internet's best-kept secret. Okay, first up, it seems that last week I made a mistake that wasn't my fault. Retro Toy Guy Sai points out that the character Jaws did not appear in Live and Let Die. Well, Google does not agree and has this to say. So, it appears that one of us is experiencing a Mandela effect. I no longer trust any of my James Bond memories, so for the time being, I will not be answering any questions relating to the franchise unless the question happens to be about Bond girls or Roger Moore's eyebrow performances. Thanks, Simon. Okay. This week's question from Ben Stutley was of course answered in last week's episode, so I shall now reveal what that question is, and then reply with my answer to next week's question, which I am yet to receive. If you don't know what's going on, don't worry, I can barely grasp this nonsense myself. So, Ben asks, could you please suggest a close but lesser primate species whom I could consume and widow at the same time, with less legal shenanigans and with less going on at the back end? Yes. As you have identified, the target of a trifle attack should inform the decision as to which technique to employ. For example, if you intend to halt the progress of an approaching child, an overhand trifle fling will be the most effective way of delivering the complicated pudding into the child's face of a child. The flying trifle's downward trajectory offers a greater chance of a successful strike. An underhand toss is likely to result in your flung dessert sailing harmlessly over your target's head. If, however, your intended target is a medium to large horse, do not use an overhand technique. The horse will see this coming and will rear on its hind legs, taking its face out of range. Instead, you should advance slowly and calmly to within a range of 2 meters. Throw the trifle from a low position up into the horse's throat and chin. My final piece of advice is that trifles are ineffective when used to attack or defend against underwater animals. Thanks, Ben. I look forward to your question about trifles next week. Weapon Zero asks, what will happen to the Eternian political structure if Prince Adam never has a child? I don't know, and unfortunately I cannot explore this any further due to the show's strict guidelines against offering opinion or commentary on sports, religion, or politics. Sorry about that, Weapon, but I don't make the rules. Actually, I do make the rules. Anyway, thank you. Onward. Kat asks, in your opinion, which celebrities are vampires and why? Well, Mary Berry is a vampire because she is about 200 years old. Mick Jagger is a shit vampire because he is about 200 years old and looks like it. Kylie Minogue is probably a vampire because what's going on there? The little boy from Gentle Ben is a vampire and has the highest body count in all of Hollywood. And Emma Watson in a blue bikini is a vampire because I want to put her in the thumbnail. And yes, I am ashamed of myself, but somebody right now is enjoying this photo quite vigorously. Thanks, Kat. Mimi Rogers once again manages to circumvent any suggestion of creativity by asking, what is favourite candy? Currently, rhubarb and custard flavour squashies. Next. Mike Ciccone asks, have you ever considered fusing your catchphrases into "get out of my sight before I greet you"? In what situations would this fusion work best? Well, certainly in the presence of any member of any monarchy, any politician I do not have in my pocket, and anyone who plays sport for a living. Also wasps. Thanks, Mike. Reading Movies wants to know, if impregnated with xenomorph genes, what sort of alien would hatch and what would it look like? Well, I'm sorry, I really don't know. However, I don't want you to go away empty-handed, so here is a photo of an ugly lamp, accompanied by the sound of foxes having sex with other foxes. There we are, and you are welcome. Jason Raphael Murdoch asks, what is more difficult to pull away from? A black hole? A drunk and randy Teela? Free food from Wendy's? Or Sydney Sweeney's cleavage? Well, a black hole is relatively easy to avoid, providing you don't approach the event horizon. Once you go over the edge, there is no coming back, and you will become a very thin noodle. A drunk Teela can be distracted with chocolate or a cute baby animal, and I still do not know who Sydney Sweeney is, or what she is for. Personally, I would have no problem avoiding her, because she's not my type. So, that leaves us with free Wendy's food, which is irresistible to anything or anyone with common sense and a mouth. Thanks, Jason. Daniel Herrin writes, I just bought myself a Baume Mercier watch for my birthday. What sort of watch do you fancy, and what kind could I purchase to feel like less of a failure? Well, Daniel, first off, you are having too many birthdays. You are allowed to observe this once per Earth orbit around the Sun. As for watches, I would like a Lego Unikitty watch, obviously. It would suit me incredibly well. And now I'm annoyed because I don't have one. Thanks. As for yourself, I suggest you have already acquired a suitable timepiece and should now investigate the purchase of some big boy pants. You've got this, Daniel. Your victory is at hand. General Stephen Jones returns with some mathematics for me, which has ruined my week. He asks, if 3x plus 7 equals 22, what is the value of x? Stephen has provided 4 multiple choice options, as you can see here. Well, I have no idea, so I'm going to ask Google. Right, you Burke, the answer is 5. Never do this to me again, unless absolutely necessary. Alex James asks, is it true that the original Footloose movie and Kevin Bacon's character were based upon you and a dance-off that occurred on Eternia? Yes, this is completely true. However, the ending was changed to be more Hollywood. In reality, I ended up smoking a fat one, drinking a bottle of tequila, and having unprotected sex with a beach. Stephen Gray asks, when cleaning your dishes after a sumptuous meal, which of these items do you find does the job best? Sponge, scourer, or sandblaster? Well, I have no idea, Stephen. I've never done the dishes in my life. Are you mental? I have people for that, and they are very good at loading the dishwasher. Thanks for the question. K-Dog Broadcasting asks, have you ever met your doppelganger at retroblasting? And would you ever collaborate for an ultimate show of Skelly nuances? No, we have never met. I find it highly unlikely that retroblasting is even remotely aware of my channel, so the likelihood of us ever joining forces and working together is incredibly slim. I imagine they would rather shit in their hands and clap. Thanks, K-Dog. The Fly Attractor sends an update explaining that he is drinking 2 types of gin imported from the UK and reports that he is not impressed with them. Here is his comment. Feel free to pause and read, as I do not have time to read out comments of this length without killing the pace of the show. However, Fly, I recommend you stop drinking things you do not like, then hop in a cab and come over after the show for some proper alcohol. The shit we have will make you think you're a fencing panel. Thanks, Fly. Soda Cauldron asks if I have any comment on the headline in last week's Eternia on Sunday entitled Orko, Why Skeletor Will Never Defeat He-Man. Yes, I do have a comment, and it is this. Fuck off, newspapers! This particular publication is one of the worst. It is an absolute rag, and is always pandering to the royal palace. I am very rarely given the right to reply, and their chief editor is an utter pot plant of a man. They always call me Skelly, which is not and has never been my name, and their comic strips are shit. My recommendation for more balanced news would be listening to the furious gibbering of a mongoose in a bucket. Thanks, Soda. The Wire asks, is it true that before he was king of Eternia, Randor founded an empire of fast food restaurants specializing in flame-broiled burgers? No, he simply offered financial backing to the business in return for being the face of the company. This was short-lived because it soon became apparent that his image was creepy and horrifying, particularly for a food franchise, and was causing children to cry into their meals and ask why the scary man was grinning into their souls. His share of the company was bought out by Yogi Bear, who later exchanged it for a picnic basket and a heavily chewed frisbee. Thank you for the question. Finally this week, HP Bifter has a question that is difficult to edit for pace, but I will try. He writes, Whiplash gets a paper cut while sorting your fan mail and death threats, and asks for your help with the injury. Which construction vehicle and method do you use to punish him for expecting help from you? A good question. I've heard that you should raise injuries, so I would load him onto a forklift and use it to pin him against the ceiling. I would then disconnect the battery and walk away. I dare say his paper cut would heal itself at about the same time as the onset of his inevitable nervous breakdown. Aftercare would be minimal if offered at all. Thanks, Bifter. And by the way, I've sent you a private message on Twitter. Read it, you Burke. Okay, that brings us to the end of another jam-packed episode. If you made it this far, thank you for watching. If you feel that entertainment was provided, please leave a thumbs up and consider sharing the channel on your socials. Do subscribe if you have not yet done so, hit the bell for notifications, and try to think of a peculiar question for the next episode. Right, I'm off to draw a picture of a lamb. So, until next time...
Get out of my sight before I beat you.